Thanks, Barry, and thank you all. This man deserves an enormous amount of credit for coming up with this idea, putting it together, asking a few of us to help him. But don't kid yourself. He's the guy that's... Along, of course, with all of you who are part of this. And I hope are enjoying it. But I think that this is the kind of thing that universities should be doing all the time. And it's just a delight to have you and to welcome two very, very special people. This has been an interesting election season. Sure, I don't have to tell you. We heard about the 1% and the 99%. Who would have known that you'd hear about the 47%? Or, for those of you who read the New York Times, the 96%. Who are they? Very interesting about that piece in the New York Times yesterday. The 96%. Who are they? That percentage of the American people who take advantage of government programs. It ain't 47%, it turns out it's 96%.
I'd love to meet some of the other 4%. Do they use our roads?
Well, this was taking advantage, very obviously, of direct programs or major tax expenditures. 96% of the American people do that. So, however you feel about it, whoever you're supporting, the fact of the matter is that this campaign, I think, is doing what campaigns should do. It's an educating force as well, which is, after all, at its best, what we like to think democracy does. And thanks primarily to Barry, with a little help from me and a few other people, we've got a terrific lineup of folks. Kathy and Eric are just great people and folks that bring to us a wealth of knowledge and experience and a willingness to stand up and say things that have an enormous influence in the public today. Both of them. And I happen to be a fan of the institution that they occupy, because when I was elected in 1974, this state was an economic basket case, folks. You think it's been bad lately? They were calling us the new Appalachian, for those of you old enough to remember where we were in 1974. 12.5% unemployment, the biggest state deficit proportion in the country. We were being written off. And the only person who stepped forward and said, I want to help, was the then president of the Boston Fed, Frank Morris. And I cannot say enough for that man. And you guys have followed in that tradition. That's one of the reasons that I'm so proud of you and of what you've done. Nobody else, everybody's kind of, Massachusetts. Frost Belt, Sun Belt, any of you old enough to remember that stuff? It wasn't fun. And Frank Morris was one of the few people that stepped up and said, we want to help. And he did. As Barry said, we've got a great lineup for you, folks. And be able to, and by the way, it's one of the great things about Boston, Massachusetts, that we've got this incredible pool of talent who have served us, in many cases are serving us, willing to come share their ideas with us. And we've got two of them tonight. Kathy Minahan was a real pioneer, because when she applied and was accepted as a management trainee by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, you the first woman? The first woman? I mean, we didn't have women management trainees working for the Federal Reserve, and in those days, for any other bank, for that matter, at that level. And we've come a long way, folks. A long way.
But not far enough.
Not far enough. If Kathy hadn't said that, Kitty would have said it. Anyway, I've got to live with that. Next year, 50th anniversary. Kitty Mike Dukakis. Still beautiful, still outspoken, whatever. But Graham Allison, Juliet Cayenne, followed by Nick Burns, Steve Kinzer, who started with us when he was a junior at Brookline High School, went on to become a great New York Times correspondent, now teaching at Boston University. Done some of the best writing in the Middle East these days of anybody. They're going to grace us with their presence. Anyway, Kathy started as a management trainee, worked her way up through the ranks, came to Boston, the senior management position, and finally became president of the regional Fed. And in her own very special way, was a real presence, and a good one, in that capacity. She is now the dean of the School of Management at Simmons College, and doing some great work over there. I walk by the place every day on the way to work, and admire Simmons. And she will introduce Eric, who, again, if I may say, Eric, in the Frank Morris tradition, has seen his position as being one where he can and must speak out, and he's done so. And in the last few months, in my view, has had a very significant impact on national policy. But I'll let Kathy tell you more about that. Kathy Bennett.